Am I out of touch? Is the world weird or is it just me?
Welcome back to Am I Out of Touch, the show where I ask the important question, is it me or is everyone else losing the plot? I'm Alison, your host, and today's episode is a special one because we're going somewhere. Literally, we're going abroad with the single most chaotic tourist on the planet, the British. Today I'm covering three things. Number one, the great British sunlounger, the towel and the suntan, three things that always end up the same way, sunburnt. Number two, why we will fly for 4 hours to a different country and then spend our evenings hunting for a pub that serves gammon and a pint of Foster's. And number three, the astonishing British belief that any language barrier can be solved not with the translation, but with the volume. OK, let's go abroad. Let's start where every British holiday actually starts. Not at the airport, not at the check-in, but at 6:45 a.m, in the dark, in the dressing gown, sprinting across a hotel pool deck like it's the 100 metres final. Because somewhere out there, a family of four has set an alarm for before sunrise for the sole purpose of putting a rolled-up beach towel on a sunlounger and then going straight back to bed. This is genuinely one of the great unexplained phenomena of British abroad. We will complain loudly about getting up early for work. We will describe 8 a.m. as an ungodly hour. And yet, given a hotel pool and the faint possibility that someone else might sit in our spot, entire families discover a reserve of pre-dawn energy that no employer has ever managed to extract from them. Towel down, book on top of the towel, for authority. Sometimes, and I have seen this, a single flip-flop, placed with real menace like a flag being planted on the moon, then straight back upstairs for another 3 hours of sleep, mission accomplished, lounger secured, area claimed. And the maddening part isn't even the getting up early, it's what happens next, which is nothing. Nobody comes down, the towel just sits there, empty, baking in the sun from 7 a.m, getting steadily hotter and more pointless, while actual holidaymakers who want to actually use a lounger at, say, 9:30, wander the entire pool deck, finding every single one occupied by a rolled-up beach towel and not one single human being. It's not reserving a seat, it's staging a small unmanned protest that runs roughly until midday, when the original family finally reappear, oiled up and ready to reclaim territory they never left in a meaningful sense. Some hotels have started actively fighting back, by the way. Several big resort chains across Spain and the Canaries have brought staff in whose literal job is to patrol the pool deck at set times each morning and physically remove towels and belongings from unattended loungers, because the problem got bad enough to need an actual policy. There are hotels that now display official signs warning guests not to reserve sun loungers before a certain hour. We have made international news repeatedly for towel-based territorial disputes. That is the level we have taken this to. Line in the sand. If your towel has been on that lounger longer than you have, you don't get to glare at the person who sits down at 10 a.m. That's not your seat, that's an abandoned outpost. And once the towel lounger standoff is finally resolved and someone is actually lying down, that's when this segment offers great traditions kicks in, because the same family who set an alarm for dawn to secure the perfect spot will then, having won it, lie flat out in it from midday till 4 with absolutely no sunscreen strategy whatsoever. All that planning, all that pre-dawn tactical towel work, and somehow nobody thought one step further to the part where the sun actually does something to the skin. We know this happens every year. There's no mystery ingredient, and yet every June plane loads of us touch down and, having fought a small war for a lounger, get straight on it at 1 p.m. with no shade plan, and more often than not, sunscreen got applied once back at 9 a.m. and never again. It's not a vaccine, it washes off, it sweats off. It rubs off on the very towel that got you the lounger in the first place. I've got a good base tan from Centre Parks in April is not a defence. It is the whitest, most sun-starved skin in Europe, walking willingly into a fight it has already lost. By day 2, someone's glowing an alarming shade of tomato at breakfast, wincing every time their t-shirt touches their shoulders, and someone else says, dead straight-faced, you'll be brown by Thursday. No. There's no brown at the end of that tunnel. There's a bathroom bin full of dead skin and a €6 bottle of Aftersun from the shop by reception, because packing Aftersun in advance would mean admitting we were going to need it. We'll always need it. Second line in the sand. If you queued in the dark for a lounger and then spent the first afternoon on it turning into a lobster, the towel wasn't the battle, the sunscreen was, and you lost that one too. Verdict. We planned the flights, the transfers, even the pre-dawn tactical assault on hotel furniture down to the last flip-flop, and somehow never planned for the two things guaranteed to happen every single trip. Someone will hoard a sun lounger they're not using, and someone will burn. That's not bad luck twice over. That's a pattern executed with real commitment every single summer.
We'll be right back.
Okay, quick pause before the next segment, because if you've enjoyed watching the British abroad make a scene over a sun lounger, you have to hear what we get up to when we're not even on holiday. This week's bonus mini rant is called Backpack Ballistics, and it's about the exact same I didn't realise logic, just swapped from a beach towel to a rucksack, and it happens on every high street in Britain daily. It's subscriber only, $3 a month gets you that and every future bonus rant the second it's recorded. Download where you get your podcasts. I'm on Spotify and Amazon. Now back to the main show. Okay, number 2, and this is the one that really gets me. We travel abroad, often to countries with some of the best food on the planet, genuinely world class, generations of culinary heritage, and then spend the whole week trying to find an English breakfast. I want you to picture the scene. You're in Spain, actual Spain, land of proper paella cooked over wood outside Valencia, of tapas bars that have been perfecting one dish for 80 years, and there, right on the seafront, is a pub called the Red Lion, with a St George's flag out front, a chalkboard advertising Sunday roast every day, Sky Sports is on in the corner, and a menu that includes, and I want to stress this is a real and common thing, egg and chips. In Spain. We flew 2.5 hours over actual French vineyards and actual Spanish coastline to eat egg and chips. Places like Benidorm have entire strips of this. Locals genuinely nickname one stretch Little Britain because it's just pub after fish and chip shop, all playing the Premier League, all selling a full English for €6, all with a landlord from Bolton pulling pints of lager brewed under licence to taste vaguely like the one back home. And it's not one rogue chain doing this to us. It exists because there is a relentless demand. We asked for it, we seek it out. There are British tourists who will walk past 4 genuinely excellent family-run local restaurants full of locals, smelling incredible, to sit in an English pub eating beans that came out of a tin that was also probably imported. And then, and this is the bit that really gets me, we complained that the food abroad wasn't that great. No. You didn't eat the food abroad, you ate a beige facsimile of Tuesday night at home, but with slightly better weather and a slightly worse pint, and then you rated the country for it. Meanwhile, there's an entire full English industry built specifically around us. I've read that some Spanish resort towns have such consistent demand for proper English fry-ups that suppliers ship in specific British brands of baked beans and sausages just to keep the pubs stocked. An actual functioning import trade, propping up a full cooked breakfast, a 2-minute walk from the Mediterranean. That's not a coincidence, that's an infrastructure. We build supply chains for nostalgia. Line in the sand. If you can see the sea from your table and you order chips, you don't get to complain about the local food when you get home. You didn't try the local food, you tried Wetherspoons with a nicer view. Verdict. This isn't really about food at all. If we're honest, it's about comfort winning over curiosity. Every single time. Even when curiosity is sitting right there, €10 cheaper and infinitely better, we go to the new places to feel something new, and then, the second it gets a bit unfamiliar, we sprint back to gammon. And look, comfort food has its place, but an entire nation's behaviour built around recreating a Tuesday in Slough in Portugal with better weather, that's not a holiday, that's just Slough with a tan. A sunburnt one. Number 3, and honestly, this might be the most quintessential British thing in this entire episode, the national approach to the language barrier. And I promise you, I have watched this happen with my own eyes. It is not to learn 10 useful words. It's not even to attempt a phrase. It's to say the exact same English sentence again, slower and considerably louder. As if the problem was never the language, it was always the volume. Do you have a table for 4? Delivered like you're trying to communicate with someone underwater or on the moon. And when that inevitably doesn't work any better the second time, the temptation is apparently to try a third time, even louder, sometimes adding hand gestures that don't actually mean anything, just sort of vague, weather-based hand gestures, as if pointing at the sky and mouthing 4 is somehow going to bridge the gap that 4 at a conversational volume did not. There's real linguistic research on this, by the way. It's a documented pattern, sometimes called foreigner talk, where speakers unconsciously slow down, over-enunciate and raise their volume when talking to someone who doesn't share their language, as though the other person simply has bad hearing rather than a different mother tongue. It's not just a stereotype, it's an actual studied phenomenon. We've turned they don't understand English into a hearing problem to be solved with decibels, and I find that so much funnier than if we made it up. And the maddening thing is, it's not that Brits refuse to try, it's that the go-to phrase is always, "Do you speak English?" delivered first, before any attempt at all at the opening move rather than the last resort. Survey after survey on UK holidaymakers finds the vast majority of us travel without learning a single useful phrase in the local language beyond maybe hello and beer. And I'd bet a fair amount of us can't confidently manage please and thank you either. And yet somehow every single one of us is fluent in the universal language of saying the same 3 words again, but crosser. Here's the bit that turns this though, because I want to be fair. When Brits abroad do try, even badly, even just a mangled gracias or a bold attempt at una, por favor, with completely wrong pronunciation, it lands. It really lands. Ask anyone who's worked in tourism anywhere in the world and they'll tell you the terrible accent, the badly conjugated verb, the person visibly trying, that's remembered fondly, not as embarrassing, as effort, as basic decency actually. It costs nothing and it changes the whole interaction. Sincere pivot, because I do mean this. I think the shouting isn't really about arrogance, not deep down. I think it's about embarrassment. It's easier to raise your voice and repeat the phrase you already know than it is to fumble through a new one and risk getting it wrong in front of a stranger or your own family. But that fear of getting it wrong is exactly why people abroad are so generous when we try anyway. Nobody's laughing at your terrible gracias. They're just glad you didn't shout at them for a 4th time. Verdict. The language barrier was never really the barrier. 10 minutes with a phrasebook or a translation app before the flight closes about 80% of the gap. And the other 20% closes itself the second you attempt it with a smile instead of volume. We don't need to be fluent. We just need to stop assuming everyone else's first language is loud English. So that's the verdict 3 times over. Sunbeds and suntans, verdict. We'll queue in the dark for a lounger, we won't sit on till midday, and then we'll burn on it anyway. Bad luck twice over isn't luck. It's a pattern. English food and English pubs. Verdict. Comfort keeps winning against curiosity. €10 cheaper and infinitely worse, and that's not a holiday. That's just home with a worse Wi-Fi signal. Language barriers. Verdict. It was never really a barrier, just a volume problem we invented for ourselves. A smile and a bad accent gets you further than a raised voice ever will. If this episode made you wince because you've got After Sun in your suitcase right now and a table booked at an English pub for Thursday, leave a review, tell a friend, you know the drill. And the final callback, because I did promise you one, next week I fly out myself. Alarm set for a reasonable hour, not 6:47 a.m, because I refuse to become Terry with a towel, factor 50 in hand, actually going to reapply it this time. Absolutely not going to find the nearest Red Lion, and I have, God help me, been practicing una mesa para dos por favor in the mirror all week. Wish me luck, I'm probably still saying it too loudly. If you've enjoyed today's episodes, let me know at speakpipe.com/am I out of touch. Leave me a voice message, tell me your holiday horror story, I might read it out. You can also watch my rants on YouTube at Am I Out of Touch. And if today made you think twice about how we behave when we travel, go listen to this week's bonus mini rant, Backpack Ballistics, about how we behave when we don't. Turns out the towel hoarding, personal space ignoring instinct doesn't stay on the plane. It just swaps out for a rucksack. Subscribe for $3 a month. Get that one right now, plus every bonus rant going forward. Don't forget to download me where you get your podcasts. I'm on Spotify and Amazon, among others. Till next time.